Watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
And joining us now from Jacksonville University, Dr. Terry Cheneau, Associate Professor at the Kigwin School of Nursing and part of the Brooks Rehabilitation College of Healthcare Sciences. And I appreciate you joining me. I know your passion and your training and your background really brings us to the point where we're talking about not just patient care, but patient safety. Help everybody understand what that is, because it might have some people going, what do you mean? Aren't patients always safe?
Well, patient safety is at the forefront of healthcare professionals. We want to improve health outcomes. We don't want to see any adverse effects. Years ago, there was a landmark study that had come out that claimed 44 to 98,000 deaths were occurring not from what the patient went into the hospital with, which is astounding. Right. So that's what we're addressing, is to have safer measures in place to improve health outcomes.
One of the things that, again, shocked me when you first kind of rolled that number out for me was how many times somebody goes into medical treatment, and not just at a hospital, but maybe other kinds of care, and you're saying a different injury or different illness than what really was diagnosed at the front end is what they would succumb to.
Right. I mean, there can be medication errors, there can be infections, they would have a longer length of stay in the hospital, and costs go up, and it could be, negative outcomes. So we want to address those.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's a positive outcome, if you will. One of the things we've been talking about is this QSEN, Quality, Safety, Education for Nurses, and there's a regional center, and this is happening at JU. Why is this kind of a landmark for what's happening with that?
Well, we're really excited about it. We're only the one of 3 in the country now, and we have a collaboration with Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. We have done outstanding work that we were, invited to become a center, and we will address providing quality and education resources and scholarship throughout the Southeast for nurses and healthcare professionals.
So, what was happening before this? You mentioned a landmark study maybe almost 15 years ago, I guess. Nurses come through training and weren't aware of this, or do they need to know better procedures to take care of patients?
Well, actually, across the board in healthcare professional curriculum, the Institute of Medicine came out that there were certain criteria that we could refine training to improve the education for the healthcare professionals. And based on that 2000-year landmark, about mid-2000, QSEN came on the scene, and it was brought about by nurse leaders. It's rolled out now in textbooks, and students are being trained on that to improve outcomes.
So why does JU become the 3rd of 3 in the country? What led to this point where this regional center is here?
I guess the success of the work that we have done in the past few years brought it to the forefront. We've worked on academic clinical partnerships. Not only do you want to train the nurses graduating, but also you want to roll it out to the healthcare organizations so that they can gain the knowledge too.
So I know this is collaboration. You mentioned one of your colleagues who couldn't be with us this morning, Dr. Roberta Christopher, has been working on this as well. Tell me about the collaboration that went into this recent forum as we visit, and here at Sunday morning, just Friday of this week, you had this forum together. Collaboration is pretty important, you're saying.
Well, one of the components actually is teamwork and collaboration in healthcare. Before, it used to be different professions worked in silos. They now know that working together in teams produces a better outcome. So one of the goals that we had with the forum was to have an interprofessional speakers panel. And actually the attendees are interprofessional coming together. So we have nurses, physicians, occupational therapists, all across the board to come together to improve outcomes.
You mentioned that this was the first time that you guys had done something like this, and it kind of filled up. The registration filled up pretty quickly with a broad range of people who are trying to attend, right?
Right. We are filled to capacity for the past couple weeks, which is great. That means that there's passion in it, and we hope, as far as our center, to have ongoing programs such as this.
All right, so we mentioned Dr. Christopher, also in the J.U. Brooks Rehabilitation College. Who are the other kind of key players in bringing this all together and making sure that you can move the needle when it comes to patient safety?
Well, actually, JU administration has been very supportive with our innovative plan. As far as our speakers at the forum, we had Dr. Wares, who is internationally renowned in patient safety, Dr. James, who runs Patient Safety America after the loss of his son, and Dr. Mary Delansky will be coming down from Case Western Reserve to address CUSIN.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty important partnership there with Case, right? So we got the North, represented there with the Cleveland, and obviously their reputation in medical training and medical care. And those folks should be coming down to Florida anyway and enjoying some of our weather. Really appreciate it, Dr. Chenot. Best success.
Thank you.
And is there more to do on solving the pension crisis? City Councilman Danny Becton joins us next on This Week in Jacksonville. Stay with us.
Most men think they can't afford a custom suit, but at Men's Warehouse, you can. Create a custom suit as unique as you are. Custom suits for every man, starting at just $3.95, only at Men's Warehouse.
This is a ClassAction.com consumer alert. Homes built before 1975 may have pipe erosion that can cause major water damage to your home. If you have water damage, warped floors, slow drains, or even a water-stained wall, you may have leaking pipes below your foundation, right under your feet. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Call or visit pipelawsuit.com now to learn more.
Gran, how do you make your sandwiches taste so good?
I make them with love.
Actually, it's the Blue Plate mayonnaise.
What?
Gran's been using rich, creamy Blue Plate for years to perk up the flavor in all your favorite foods.
So, the deviled eggs?
Blue Plate.
Potato salad?
Blue Plate.
Cookies?
No. She just buys those. Try new Blue Plate Light Mayo with Greek yogurt, a first of its kind.
When you get caught in a storm, know that we're out there too, keeping our eye on the big picture. So in the unlikely event your lights go out at home, we'll let you know with the new FPL outage alerts, sent anytime, anywhere to any device.
Who wants ice cream?
Introducing outage alerts from FPL. Now you can choose to get notified via text, voice, or email, so you can stay informed when it matters most. Go to the new FPL.com/alerts to start getting notified your way.
Harrell & Harrell is a personal injury law firm that fights for truth, safety, and justice. That's what we do. If you feel your loved one is being abused or neglected, please feel free to give me a call. I will walk you through it. I will help you through the process, and we'll make some good decisions.
Little Frankie, how he drowned to death on dry land.
He touched so many hearts.
What his parents want everyone to know about dry drowning. Next, Inside Edition.
Monday at 7:30 on Channel 4.
Most men think they can't afford a custom suit, but at Men's Warehouse, you can. Create a custom suit as unique as you are. Custom suits for every man, starting at just $3.95, only at Men's Warehouse.
Thanks for staying with us on this Sunday morning. So a new plan to pay off Jacksonville's pension deficit faster appears to be going, I don't know, maybe nowhere. This week, the City Finance Committee voted one councilman's idea down. Danny Becton has suggested using money that the city gains as property values increase to help pay down the $2.8 billion pension mess. The proposal would still go to full council, but seems unlikely to pass at this point. So joining us right now, Councilman Becton. I wanted to hear from you a little bit more about the idea here. I know the mayor had pushed for the plan to extend or reissue that half-cent sales tax. Voters said yes, unions agreed, council passed it unanimously. But that doesn't begin solving this issue for several years. Your plan would be sooner, right? Tell me more about it.
Well, it is certainly, thank you for having me here today, but certainly when we were passing the reform agreement, the administration, even during their presentation, said the plan wasn't perfect, but it was a good plan. It was historic for the city of Jacksonville. So I kind of describe it like they made the cake, I was trying to put the icing on it. And it's going ahead and helping the next generation for the successes that we're going to have in future revenue growth, make some extra payments and helping pay down it early rather than just waiting 13 years and and put the full burden on them.
Certainly that was one of the considerations or the things that were criticized about the mayor's plan. And as he said, not perfect, but that it does push that burden down the road a little bit here. Not to say we're not going to deal with it. At least the city has a plan to deal with it at this point. But yeah, it does wait a little while. Is this something that you feel could be done in addition to what's already done with the mayor's office? It would add to the benefit there, right?
Of course. That's why I filed the bill. I mean, that's exactly. And we're looking at, under a 3% growth revenue, $3.5 billion coming into the city over the next 13 years. And that's very conservative. I mean, over the last 16 years, I showed my colleagues where growth was 3.38. So as you can see, and if we're talking just 15% of that, it requires you to live within your means. It requires you to put away a little bit and just live on what you take in addition to. And that's a tough thing sometimes for people to do. And I kind of compared it to paying on a charge card, where they'll send you that minimum payment, but to really pay it off, you got to do more, and sometimes it's just real tempting to just write the check for what the credit card company tells you to do.
And we've talked about this, Council. We've both got kids who are college or just out of college, and that's a message you're trying to teach people at that point. It's tougher from a municipal standpoint as well. There are some other impacts there. The city's credit rating could be impacted by not paying this off for a while, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Moody's did come out and did file a report, and they said exactly what we're sitting here, discussing, that they're very smart individuals. They do see us pushing this debt out. They do realize we have this asset down there, whether you agree or disagree, whether they're giving us credit for it. A lot of things could go wrong. We could have recessions, they could get not the returns that they're hoping to get. I mean, just like the last 16 years, things went wrong. And in trying to look out 20 years from now and figure out how the economy is going to be and how a number's going to total up.
That'd be a good trick, huh?
It's difficult. So, the way I live my life, I try to spend taxpayer dollars the same way. And people who know me, where I've served in other places of managing the taxpayers and homeowners' money, I've done just this. And I try to use those disciplines and be good steward of taxpayer dollars.
Well, I appreciate the time, and we'll look forward to talking again where we talk about other things going on in the city. Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it.
Appreciate being here.
Well, back to state politics for a moment. A veto from Governor Scott stopped a local project aimed at protecting pedestrians. That bill, submitted by State Representative Clay Yarborough, would have replaced many current crosswalk signals with new ones that have countdown signals. Jacksonville's Yarborough believes this bill would save lives. You've probably seen it when you're driving, a pedestrian trying to beat the light and make it across the street. And sometimes, like this, they nearly get hit by cars. Other times, tragically, they do.
We have a great need. I mean, we've had a lot of pedestrians that have lost their lives and people riding their bicycles that have been hit by motorists, whether they were at fault or not. And this would help that safety. So it's a shame that it got vetoed.
In the bill he filed, Yarborough notes the Federal Highway Administration says countdown clocks on crosswalk signals reduce pedestrian and bicycle crashes by 25%. The bill also pointed out that among the 50 most populated cities in the country, Jacksonville is #1 in bicycle and pedestrian fatalities. Some intersections already have them, but many others do not.
This is going to continue to put pedestrians and people on bicycles at risk at intersections by not having these countdown heads.
Yarborough says many of the crashes happen near intersections where local roads intersect with state roads. That's why he felt it was the state's responsibility and asked for about $630,000 in this budget to replace more than 1,900 signs. Yarborough says if the city isn't able to find room in the budget to do the project itself, he'll put again that bill out next year, trying to make sure that it happens. Also says it's an effort to make Jacksonville safer for walkers and bikers. Thanks so much for being with us. This Week in Jacksonville airs each Sunday morning at this time, and next week, State Representative Travis Cummings joins us. We're also lining up interviews with Shannon Nasworth of Ability Housing, and later in the month, Dominic Calabro from Florida Tax Watch. I'm Kent Justice. Thanks for watching.
More people in Northeast Florida and South Georgia get their news from News 4 Jax than anywhere else.